Okay, continuing on with this idea of reverse engineering the ego, the concept basically is once we're vigilant about the ego, once we understand that we have to be conscious of the fact that the ego is a second voice in our heads that is sort of setting us back in a lot of ways and definitely creating um, a lot of friction in our life. Um, what can we do consciously to create better things in our life? Now that we understand the thing that is keeping us back and handicapping us, what can better our lives? What can we put in that fertile soil? Because we know we have to be conscious and active with our minds to shut that thing up. We can't just sing a song all day long. What can we do to attain the things we want to attain? And in the last video, we talked about abundance as an example. And I'll continue on a little bit with abundance as a sort of example as I go along with what we're talking about in the morning here. But to be honest with you, abundance, while a tall order sometimes from where, depending on where you're starting from, is in all actuality, not the largest problem or scheme or goal in life. And I think on your way to sort of reversing the idea of I'm the place where money comes to die, as Teal Swan says, towards I'm the place where money comes to grow, you learn a lot about what it means to be a spiritual being. And you don't have to be a spiritual being to become rich, that's for sure. But rich is not the same thing as abundant. Most rich people are very lacking in the sense that they're very poor in that they only have money. That's all they have. They're so poor that they only have money. To have abundance in your life is to have, money, peace, love, wisdom. It's to be acknowledged. It's to be thought of in your inner circle as someone, to be leaned on, asked questions upon, respected. All of these things go in a very abundant life. It's not just money. And when you attack money in a spiritual way, as we're learning, versus an egotistic way, you have much more likelihood, believe it or not, of attaining abundance spiritually than you would the average way, which is why only very few people, attain it. If you look at your high school reunions and say, okay, how many of us actually attain the abundance where we feel really safe and secure, it'd be less. But if they all went in a spiritual realm, it would almost be 100%, I would assume. So let's just talk about this one portion of it, okay? Where the ego has incredible pull, or where they really see an opportunity, where it sees an opportunity, is certainly when you wake up. Because consciously you're not quite there, and human nature is to be a little bit lazy when we wake up and want to take our time waking up, and to gather our thoughts and do the things that kind of make us feel comfortable and ready to attack the day, mostly because our day is filled with so much angst and animosity and antagonism from the world out there that does not use the world spiritually. And so for someone like me, it's like I kind of need my time. And so it takes time for you to really get active and start pursuing your goals or pursuing your thoughts or consciously meditating throughout the day on what you want to meditate on. And the ego knows this, and it's already been in a dream mode, so it's in full mode. When you wake up, it's looking to really jump all over you, and remind you of things that you're lacking, problems that you're having, all the things that you have to do that day, all the people that are disappointed in you and waiting on things. Again, everything I just mentioned right now, these are all assumptions that your ego is putting into your mind, making you believe that they are a reality. And within 5 minutes of the day, as you open your eyes, before you even know if it's rainy or sunshine, you already hate your life, have completely lost your motivation. This is nowhere, and are attracting worse things at this point. Stubbing your toe on the way out of the bed is probably guaranteed at that point. And this happens every single morning, and until you get your proverbial shit together, until you start thinking, it could last all the way until lunchtime. You could be driving into work hating yourself and creating problems and assumptions and misunderstandings about people in your life, all based on what this ego is just on overdrive in your mind and control. So we have to be vigilant about that. We have to know about this, that the morning sets the tone. Your very first thought, when you wake up, it's the seed that the entire tree is going to be built on throughout that day. It sets the tone. If that first thought is something that you're late, that you didn't study enough the night before, that you ate too much, anything like that, and that tree is going to start, growing into demise, into self-demise, into self-hatred, and really cause you a lot of problems throughout the day in being able to do what you need to do and waste a lot of time. That first thought is everything. That second thought is only secondly important. It's almost as important as the first thought. It could be almost as important. The third thought even more so. See what I'm saying? The sooner we get this turned around, the sooner everything changes. And if we consciously put ourselves in a situation where we tell that ego, we don't need to hear what you're thinking about, we're focused on this, immediately time is abundant and things start attracting the right way, where they're supposed to. So you have to be very vigilant about that first thought, and you have to be very vigilant about that first hour of the day, I would assume, physically and mentally. Mentally, we want to prepare ourselves. We want to have some sort of game plan ready to go. The worst thing you can do is fall asleep with your phone next to you, because you will wake up and there will be messages and emails or Twitters telling you, we need you, you're late, blah, whatever. The phone is the ego's favorite tool to use. It's amazing. Do not sleep with this thing. Put this thing in another room. Do not look at your phone until you are mentally ready to look at your phone. Until you can accept the negativity that waits for you out there. Because they are not consciously, actively promoting their spiritual selves to fight egotistical beliefs and impulses. You have to be knowing this. And once you are, it's very easy to deal with. But once you're not, it's very, very hard to deal with. Damaging. Okay, so don't look at your phone until you're ready, until you know you got joy in your heart, you're ready to go. The night before, have an idea of what you want to wake up thinking about. What is your focus right now? What are you consciously trying to do? Are you just bringing peace into your life? Do you want to slow time down? Right now, personally, I'm working on not trying to feel this impulse of attacking life, like I have to go get this, I have to go get that, I have to go make money, I have to go, and letting the world come to me and insisting that the world come to me, that money, opportunities, my groceries come to me in the time that it needs to come, not that I push time. Okay, it's a concept I'm working on right now. But let's talk about abundance, since we've been working on that. When I started working on abundance, I found a woman online that I don't really follow that much anymore, and I really didn't follow her that much then either, but she was in that week because I had called upon spirituality in a sense and opened myself up to ideas of how can I do this a different way. I've been doing this for 14 years and getting nowhere, working harder than anyone in any workplace, and still kind of ending up at zero sum. I need to do something bigger, better, broader. And there she was. And, she claims to be able to channel Archangel Michael. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know. But she created this poem, if you will. It's not even a poem, it's sort of a saying. It's a one-page saying. I'm going to put it at the bottom of this video, and hopefully it helps you, because it helped me tremendously. I still have it framed in my kitchen over my, where we eat, over our table. My wife did it too. We did it every day. We woke up, and the first thing we did is we had this page laying on our bed usually. I would wake up first normally. She usually sleeps a lot later than I do. Just pick that page up and start reading it. And the page just said, I'm open to new opportunities. I'm opening myself to abundance. I am not afraid to take that next step to allow myself to have more abundance in my life. Things like this. Your page could say anything, any goal you want. Doesn't matter, as long as you're consciously putting something into that mind to work on, rather than the ego just sucking from it. Okay? Because again, the difference between you doing that is when you consciously put that, you're using a creative force, and you're setting the universe, that projection, to bring you back, understanding that it takes the world to give you what you need. And so you have to have some sort of mastery over that spiritually and mentally. The ego's, sort of schema or strategy is you're in this alone. You got my fear and your hands to do this only. You got little chance, but you better get your shit together. It's kind of sort of the thing it is. And it's always just making you feel like I'm your only hope. Because once you start solving these riddles and start killing these demons, you'll start laughing at the ego, and the ego you'll start seeing the ego sort of pity itself within you. Because it knows that it has very little chances to make you feel fear and fight or flight anymore. Because you feel very secure in every world. Because you're starting the day with a different creative form. And you're creating a different tone for the world to follow you. So have something ready to go the night before. Put it in front of you and start thinking about it. Start planting those ideas in your head. Now physically we have to get ready. Mentally we've gotten out of bed. We're starting to think about the right things. We're not being pulled down by our phones or by negative thoughts. We got to get in that kitchen and get going and get working. Because inside, throughout the night, we've been detoxing. So we have tons of chemicals. And in our world, GMOs, chemtrails, we are detoxing like crazy. And for most of you, you're not consciously detoxing. You're not juicing. You're not eating vegetables. You're not eating fruits. This is the only time you're detoxing. And so you've done some work while you're asleep. You got to get it out. First of all, you're heavily acidic when you're awake. And this causes all the inflammation in your body. And all the inflammation in your body is the source of not only all the sickness in your body, but the stress, the cortisone, etc. So we got to set the tone right away. It's very easy. Go to your local health food store or natural store. Find food grade baking soda. I've used the general baking soda before. It tends to have heavy metals in it, from what I understand. So I've switched to food grade baking soda, which you can find at these natural stores. I don't notice anything different. They seem to work both as well, but consciously I think I'm putting in a cleaner source of baking soda within me and not having any heavy metal or radiation content possibly. So I would suggest food grade. You take nothing more than a teaspoon, because it can be very, it's going to clean you out. It's basically an alkaline effect, so all the acidity is going to reverse into alkaline, okay? And then you're going to have you're not going to have that stomach. You're going to have no indigestion throughout the day. In fact, if you ever have indigestion, and you have that sour stomach feel, do this again. You can do this up to 2 or 3 times a day. If you're suffering for cancer, it's an absolute must. You basically take, because cancer cannot exist in an alkaline system, okay? It exists in an acidic system. But anyways, if you have that sour stomach, or first thing in the morning, take that teaspoon, put it in about a 5 glass ounce of water, chug it down. You'll feel neutralized. You may have some big burp, one or two big burps. You'll feel incredibly soothed internally within your belly. The next thing I would do is have another glass of water, not as fast, maybe as you're getting ready or whatever you do in the morning. I would put apple cider vinegar in that, just a dab. As you get more and more used to it, you can increase that dab into a splash. Some people even can do a full glass. I'm not even there yet, but I do love apple cider vinegar now. I really have a taste for it now. This will get everything lubed up and working. There's so many benefits for that. You can look that up to find that out. That would be my second glass of water. I would also suggest you looking into intermittent fasting. One of the hardest things you do on your body is eating. Digestion takes so much work, and it takes your immune system. And if your immune system isn't fighting off the chemicals that are in your body, the hard metals, the GMOs, whatever the case may be, as well as any of the sickness and irritations that you have in your body, and it's working on food all day long, then you have no chance for health, basically, mental or physical. And the sicker you get, the harder it's going to be for you to have mental health, to be able to push on through the negativity that is out there in the world, if you will. So, or any other conscious state you need. So intermittent fasting, I'm sure you've heard the benefits of fasting. If you haven't, go research it. The biggest benefits is it allows your immune system to work on your body and heal you and to strengthen you. The subset of this is we eat way too much, especially as a Western culture. Food is a pastime. It's something we do to calm our nerves. And so this is something you should work on, and we'll be talking about this in future videos. Intermittent fasting is a great way to start the idea of fasting without having to really torment yourself. Essentially, it just splits the day into 2 parts, okay? An 8-hour day and a 16-hour day. You're basically going to fast for 16 hours. Most of that you sleep. You sleep about 6 to 8 hours. And then you're going to wake up and not eat for the basic amounts a day, which is great because if you think about it, breakfast, there's no good breakfast. If you're eating breakfast every day, you know, you're eating eggs, toast, a lot of grain, a lot of bread, a lot of proteins, a lot of stuff that really isn't starting your day in a way that's really energizing you. It's bringing you down until like 12 o'clock and you're having a hard time digesting, so on and so forth. Keep yourself clean and lean. Make yourself hungry. You're your most, you're your most strong, your most curious when you're hungry. Once you're fed, you get sleepy, you get lazy, you get complacent. Okay? My mom always says things change in life when hunger overcomes your fear. When fear is above your hunger and you're very, you're doing good, you can let that fear sit over you and say, oh, don't try those new things. But when you get hungry, fear goes away. You'll try anything. And so that's where you want to be on a daily basis. And you want to get to that point, if you will. But when you do intermittent fasting, it's not like you're sitting in hunger all day. It's just you're sitting lean. You'll realize, you'll have this conscious state within a day or two that, man, I'm eating way too much. I do not need to eat this much. So you figure out what works best for your schedule. I like to eat late at night. I always have. And so this is also a way to curb my midnight eating as well. Because once the door is shut, the door is shut. Basically, I do 2 to 10 o'clock. So I don't have anything except for a couple glasses of water until 2 o'clock. And then at 2 o'clock, the great thing about that 8-hour stretch of eating is I can eat all 8 hours, as much as I want, whatever I want. Obviously, I'm pretty conscious about organic eating and things of that nature. Raw food eating, at least about 80-90% I say I'm at. But whatever, I don't care what you're eating. In that 8 hours, satiate yourself. Make yourself feel good. Eat as much as you want because you're going to go the next 16 hours without it. And so I don't want you thinking about it. I want you thinking about it in that 16 hours. If you do get hungry or you start to think about food because you're nervous, think about how good that 8 hours is going to be while you're eating everything. What's interesting is you never eat as much as you want in that 8 hours. You just can't. Once you start getting into this consciousness of, my stomach doesn't need as much as I give it, you realize in that 8 hours, you get all crazy. You take everything out of the fridge, you just put it right back because you get full really, really quickly. This is great for mental attention. It's also going to, if you want to lose weight, you will lose weight really fast. You will detox, which is, getting in the way. Another big tool for the ego is obviously taxation. Anytime you're suffering, sleepy, that's when he can step in and really make you feel like you need a hero at that point in your head. So let's go over this again one more time. Biggest things in the morning, have a plan on what you're going to think about first thing in the morning. Definitely not your phone, okay? Detox your body with baking soda and apple cider vinegar. And then I would do intermittent fasting. I would fast till a certain time of day and only eat for 8 hours a day. And see where that takes you. We'll talk later on in other videos about fasting, about diets like raw food diet and liquid diets that people find themselves just naturally, organically finding themselves at as they kind of move into this conscious state of what their body needs to keep really vibrant. So hopefully this helps you. The morning stacks the day. If you can stack the day on top of perfect thought, even if it's just wake up and say, this is going to be an awesome day, over and over again, this is going to be an awesome day, you have to re-engineer that, reverse engineer that ego. And that takes conscious thought. That takes you conditioning yourself. So just have a good thought ready for the morning. Like I said, I will put that abundance, if you want to call it, prayer, poem, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, I would just wake up, put it in front of my face, and just start reading it over and over and over and over again for, 5 or 10 minutes. Man, did things start opening up for me. Hopefully it does for you too. Good luck.